Chapter 1. The Big Picture. How much has Russia controlled and how far will it go? War is a game of maps. One can argue for hours about politics, about international aid, about diplomatic negotiations, but in the end, it all comes down to one very specific question. Who controls how many square kilometers of land? On the map of Ukraine in August 2025, that question is more urgent than ever. How much more territory has Russia gained, and how much more will it increase in the coming months? To understand the issue, we must first go back to the beginning of the war. Russia started by controlling almost all of Crimea and large parts of Donetsk-Luhansk. But after many hesitations, when Ukraine counterattacked strongly in 2022-2023, Russia was forced to withdraw from Kharkiv and Kherson. The situation seemed to have reversed. However, from 2024 onwards, with the strategy of slow and steady wins the race, Russia began to narrow the gap, gradually encroaching on areas in Donetsk. In August 2025, the report showed that Russia had controlled dozens of new square kilometers in Pokrovsk, Avdiivka, and opened the attack to Dobropolye. If you look at the defense map, the area Russia has occupied is not too large an area, but extremely important in terms of location. Imagine a Go player, not needing to occupy the entire board, just needing to move a few pieces in the right place to block the opponent's lifeline. Russia is trying to do that. From a geopolitical perspective, controlling more land means three outcomes. Russia gains more military footholds to place artillery and air defense systems. Russia creates psychological pressure that makes Ukraine and the West worried that the situation is slipping. Russia can bring this controlled area figure to the negotiating table as a bargaining chip. A humorous example, if we compare the war to, how about keeping land in the countryside? Ukraine is like the eldest brother who goes to work far away, sending money back to the younger brother to keep the field. But the neighbor, Russia, gradually encroaches on the border. Today taking up 1 meter, tomorrow taking up a few more meters. When the eldest brother returns, he discovers that his field is now only half gone. That is the feeling Ukraine is facing. But the controlled area figure does not tell the whole story. The issue is not how much more land Russia takes up, but how much strategic value that land has. An empty field may be nothing, but a high hill, a vital road, or a town with a railway can change the situation. And last August, the points Russia advanced into were mostly strategic locations. Here, the defense map is like a chessboard. Each square has a different value. Capturing a city like Pokrovich is like capturing a chariot in chess, affecting the entire game. Therefore, when analyzing how much more area Russia has controlled, we must ask, is it soulful area or just dead area? Chapter 2. Reasons. Why can Russia make more progress? Many people wonder why, after so many years, Ukraine is still losing land. Doesn't it have the support of the US and Europe? So why can Russia still move step by step? To answer, we must analyze the causes from three perspectives: military, political, and social. 1. Military. Russia has changed its tactics. Instead of launching large attacks that are easily broken, they have applied the erosion tactic, using artillery, missiles, and drones to continuously attack, exhausting the Ukrainian army before sending infantry forward. This is like playing the game of waiting for fish in troubled waters, stirring up trouble before casting the net. On the contrary, Ukraine, despite having modern weapons aided by the West, has increasingly exhausted its human resources. Experienced soldiers have been depleted, while new soldiers have been hastily trained. The formation is uneven. Morale is low, making it difficult to maintain stability against Russia's constant pressure. 2. Political. Russia's long-term goal is to prove to the world that it can stand firm and gradually win. On the contrary, Ukraine needs to show that it is not losing, so that the West will not be discouraged. But in reality, disagreements in Western politics, especially in the US, where Congress has repeatedly delayed approving aid, have left Ukraine short at a crucial moment. For example, imagine a football match. Russia is like a solid defensive team, counterattacking slowly but effectively. Ukraine has to play while looking up at the stands to see if the Western fans are still clapping their hands in support. And if the audience starts to yawn, the spirit on the field will also drop. It is the combination of the above three factors that makes the area figure that Russia occupied in August not a coincidence. It is the result of a long-term, persistent strategy. Chapter 3. Consequences, Significance, the Future Scenario. When we look back at the initial question, how much more territory has Russia controlled and how much more can it take, we must realize that this figure has a meaning far beyond a few square kilometers on the map. It is a signal for the overall war. 1. Direct consequences. For Ukraine, every inch of lost territory means a drop in morale, an increase in the refugee burden, and a difficulty in convincing the West to provide aid. For Russia, every inch of captured territory strengthens internal confidence, proving that the special military operation is still progressing. For the world, every change on the map causes fluctuations in energy and food markets. Oil, gas, and wheat prices are all affected. 2. Global significance. Dobropole, Pokrovich, or Avdiivka may be unfamiliar names to the Vietnamese people, but in reality, every change there makes us pay more for gasoline, electric, and morning bread. That is how a war on the other side of the world knocks on the door of every family. 3. Future scenario. There are three possibilities. Russia continues to erode and occupy more land. Ukraine receives timely aid, counterattacks, and regains some of it. The war is a stalemate, no one wins absolutely, and the map of Ukraine is like a carpet being torn to pieces. For example, imagine a Tet Bong Chunt. Russia wants to cut more pieces, Ukraine tries to keep the remaining part, and the West stands outside giving advice on how to cut it squarely. That Bong Chunt is the territory of Ukraine today. Conclusion. Through 3 chapters, we can see clearly that the story of how much more area did Russia control in August is not just a geographical calculation. It is a test of strategic strength, political will, and endurance of both sides. Russia wants to prove that it is strong enough to go the long way. Ukraine is forced to keep the faith to survive. The West, although not directly on the map, holds the pen that decides to draw the border. And for us, observers from afar, this is a reminder that peace never comes naturally. Just one incident in Dobropole or Pokrovich, the whole world is affected. If you find this analysis useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the History and War channel to continue accompanying us on the journey to discover historical events and wars around the world.